Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up in our news tonight, tourism stakeholders react to an increase in visitor arrivals. The tourism minister defends the purchase of the Grand Bahama Airport. And we'll tell you how many court records will be digitized. Plus, a group of environmentalists and entrepreneurs dive into the blue economy. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Georgie Bain. Topping news tonight. If you've taken a drive through tourist hotspots like downtown in recent weeks, you may have noticed that what has been a ghost town for months is now slowly coming back to life. That's because tourists are slowly returning to the Bahamas, and tourism officials and industry stakeholders are reacting. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
The once bustling tourism sector is now a shell of its former self thanks to the global COVID-19 pandemic that essentially pumped the brakes on the industry. But as the world continues to cope with the pandemic and vaccines are being distributed and administered across the world, the global tourism industry is beginning to see a bump in travelers. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says it's been a slow and steady process.
So what we're noticing, and the best way to gauge it, is to look at the number of applications on the Bahamas Health Visa. And every month we're seeing an increase. And certainly now in March and April, based on the numbers that we're seeing passing through that, and also based on the numbers that the hotels are reporting to us. As we've always said, we expect the numbers to slowly increase through this year. And as more and more people get vaccinated in the United States, you see they're doing it at a phenomenal rate right now. They got lots of vaccines. People are getting vaccinated at a phenomenal rate. And studies have shown when people get vaccinated, they want to travel.
According to stats from the Ministry of Tourism, the Bahamas is seeing a similar trend. They reveal that over 100,000 people have applied to the Ministry of Tourism for travel health visas to enter the Bahamas over the last 4 months. That's good news from where those numbers stood for much of 2019. For example, total visitor arrivals from December 2020 dropped by 95% year over year, despite the reopening of 2 major resort destinations and other major hotels. That month, the Ministry of Tourism only approved 35,000 health travel visas. Those 35,000 stand in stark contrast to the 710,000 plus visitors that the Ministry of Tourism statistics show visited the Bahamas in December 2019. No one felt those dismal numbers more than frontline tourism workers like taxi drivers. Last December, this taxi driver who was stationed at Bahamar told us just how tough times were back then.
The situation is getting worse than getting better because, imagine being out there a whole week and you haven't collected fare upward to the day, and this is from March.
But in just a few short months, Bahamas Taxi Cab Drivers Union President Wesley Ferguson says things are getting better, with more visitors deciding to vacation in the Bahamas. He told our news team that the spring break visitors this month have been a welcomed boost to business.
It's exciting news in the taxi industry, and not to say that we are back to normalcy, but however, with the new arrivals of, I think the spring breakers have now added to the amount of tourists that are visiting our shores. And of course, taxi drivers are taking advantage of the increased amount of tourists that are, coming back to the Bahamas. And we're excited because, we crave the day when we could get back to the old days, when it was normal, where you don't have to have all the protocols in place, the mask, the sanitizing and all that other stuff. But we are the industry is slowly creeping back to some normalcy. When I look at the numbers that are sent to my phone by NAD every day, it seems as if we have increase of about just thereabouts about 1,000 people a day or more. Just over 1,000 people a day. Whereas, in contrast to what was.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Tourism and Aviation Minister Dionisio de Aguilar defending government's move to purchase the Grand Bahama International Airport. De Aguilar telling our news that while the government is purchasing the airport for only $1, it comes after tough negotiations with the owners.
We said no, $1. And then we settled on some of the staff-related costs as we negotiated the final sale of the project. So I estimate right now that to be around $900,000. But understand what we're getting for that.
Digipay says it will cost between $40 to $50 million to rebuild the airport, much more hurricane ready than it was. The aviation minister says while there are critics to the sale, one must understand what is being gained with the purchase.
We're getting 2,500 acres of land, or whatever it is, 2,000 to 2,500 acres of land. We're getting an 11,000-foot runway, which probably would cost about $30 million to build. They resurfaced it about 2 years ago at a cost of about $12 million. So you're getting a $30 million runway. You're getting ramps. You're getting buildings that have been impacted. But for $900,000, to me, that's a good deal. All right? Now, yes, you're going to have to spend $40 to $50 million building terminals and other such, and replacing those buildings. And our strategy is this: it makes absolutely no sense to build those buildings back where they were.
Angliston MP Glenys Hannah Martin has come out against criticizing the deal, saying the current owners need to divest unattractive parts of the deal. However, Digipay says Hannah Martin wouldn't understand as she's not at the negotiating table.
It's the art of negotiation. And because former Minister Hannah Martin is not in that negotiation, she doesn't understand the strategy of the government. Okay, so her position was that Hutchinson Whampoa came in to the Bahamas and was granted a concessionary rate of 50 cents on every container. And in return, they had to build an airport, and in return, they had to build a hotel. Now they've gotten rid of the hotel, they've gotten rid of the airport, and they're still getting the concessionary rate. All I can tell her is negotiations haven't completed.
Former opposition leader Loretta Butler Turner believes the chances of more women being elevated to the cabinet level if the FNM is re-elected are slim to none, especially following the arrest of DNA party leader Orinthia Komolafe. Loretta Butler Turner, who once served alongside Dr. Hubert Minnis as FNM deputy leader, isn't buying his assertion that more women would serve in cabinet the next time around. She said Minnis's recent statement is hard to believe due to a credibility deficiency.
Dr. Minnis has a credibility deficiency. So if you believe that he intends to elevate women to a position of power, then you are as vulnerable as the persons that surround him. There is total lack of confidence in whatever he says. So do not believe that he is running women that are possibly going to be in the leadership of anything or even win their seats.
Following the Free National Movement's landslide election victory in 2017, Lanisha Roll was the only woman appointed to the Minnis cabinet. However, she recently resigned, resulting in an all-male cabinet. Amid criticism, Minnis appointed Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe as Minister of State for Disaster Preparedness earlier this month. Butler Turner said she believes there isn't a desire to have more women at the table in this current administration.
The truth of the matter is, having to run women and have women, it's got one woman sitting around the cabinet table today in a very junior position that has no ability, and she was only forced to be put there after firing another one, or another one resigning. And quite frankly, there is no desire to have women at the table of the decision under that led administration.
Butler Turner, who showed up at the Central Police Station on Monday in support of the arrest of DNA leader Orinthia Komolafe, said the lack of public confidence in the Prime Minister and the government will undoubtedly affect the willingness of Bahamians to take the COVID-19 vaccine.
There's a great credibility deficiency in this government led by Hubert Alexander Minnis. People do not believe any longer anything that he has to say. And if you'd like to just use an example of the most current situation, look at the amount of people that really would like to get past the pandemic who are not even going to have the vaccination done. Because when you lose credibility, people do not believe in you.
The former opposition leader added that the level of democracy has diminished due to the emergency orders. And the Commissioner of Police stressing the importance of applying for permission to demonstrate following the arrest and questioning of the leader of the Democratic National Alliance this week. Commissioner of Police Paul ruled, doubling down on this week's episode of On the Record with host Jerome Sawyer, that the decision to arrest and question 9 members of the Democratic National Alliance, including the party's leader, did not come from any government official.
When I start hearing the nonsense about politician, you saying someone directed me, then you should tell me who's this person that directed me, because I have said that no one directed the Commissioner of Police, and I'm waiting for that person someone to identify who that person is.
So you can unequivocally say no Prime Minister, no Attorney General, no Minister of National Security, all these people who were blamed, you're saying none of them would have given you any directions?
No Prime Minister, no Minister of National Security, no Attorney General give me any instructions. As a matter of fact, once the persons were in custody, I report to my upline as to what was going on.
The demonstration on March 3rd promoted civil disobedience and broke the law of unlawful assembly, according to the top cop. This resulted in the 9 members being brought in for questioning.
This thing about civil disobedience, which means that you understand the law, you decide that you're going to break the law, you understand that you're breaking the law, and you are prepared for the consequences.
So what was the law they
law.
were breaking? If you could help us, what law did they break?
The law of unlawful assembly. Once they got into Parliament, there was no permit granted. You cannot just decide that you're going to assemble, block the streets, and go into Bay Street and march and attempt to get into Parliament, force the way through the police protection that was set up. There were the issues.
According to Rule, it is his duty to protect the House of Assembly, but he doesn't believe in prohibiting freedom of speech. So if the members had applied for a permit, he would have granted it. He added that the permit from the Commissioner of Police is only to protect those who are wishing to demonstrate.
They did not apply for a permit. If they had, yes, I would give permit. When the Commissioner issues the permit, officers are detailed to escort you and to be along with you to make sure that nobody bothers you. Because not everyone is going to agree with what you're doing. And not everybody agrees with what you're saying. And before someone comes and run them over in the middle of the road, I have to provide security for them. When we give you the issue the permit, we also detail officers to move along with you for your protection.
And still to come on our news, the government is moving to upgrade its online platform. Land environmentalists are diving into the blue economy. Stay with us.
Every new season of On the Record, we push the limits. Venture into unknown territory. We take our cameras into places unseen before. We share the stories and experiences that affect us all. And now it's time for Season 5. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on RTV Cable Channel 212 and streaming live on Facebook on the R News Bahamas page.
Welcome back. You're watching our news. Some 200 official government services are expected to be uploaded to the digital platform by summer. As a part of the government's ongoing digitalization efforts to increase the ease of doing business in the Bahamas, the digitalization unit will release an additional 3 services on the online platform.
This is going to be released on Monday, the 29th of March, 2021. These include the application for the police character reference, the renewal of the gun license, and the renewal of the e-passport, all online. Eventually, the government plans to add 200 official services to the portal for users to apply and access.
The 200 official services are expected to be uploaded over a 5-year span.
These will be placed online over a 5-year period. Since the initial expansion of the pilot to the public, which was done on the 3rd of February 2021, we've had over 2,000 Bahamians who've successfully registered and are able to request certified copies of their documents. On Monday, the 29th of March, Bahamian citizens in New Providence, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, Abaco, and North Andros, age 18 years or older, will now be able to apply and pay for certified copies of their birth, death, and marriage certificates.
And by April, more services are expected to be available to the public.
By mid-April, the housing application, renewal of driver's license permit, deeds and documents, the notary public license renewal and new applications, the post office box rentals, and applications for new post office box will be released to the public. The Digipay platform is owned by the government and was designed and developed by a young Bahamian technologist, Christy Powell. Her success in implementing this breakthrough technology is a testament to the homegrown Bahamian brilliance.
And Chief Justice Sir Brian Murray updating the media on the scanning and digitization of court documents and records this week. According to Murray, it will take some 12 months for the process of 12 million documents to be uploaded to the system.
We have started that project. The vendor is in place. The contract was signed in December. It is a 12-month project because it's going to involve the scanning and digitization of over 12 million documents in the Magistrates Court, the Supreme Court, and the Court of Appeal. So it's quite a large project, but it's going very well.
According to Maury, the civil procedure rules slated to be completed by April are experiencing several delays.
Yes, I said before Easter, and we only have another, I think, 7 or 8 days. What I can report is that the working draft of the new civil procedure rules will be circulated to the Rules Committee and then sent out for public consultation sometime very shortly after the long Easter weekend. So we've had many delays with this project for reasons that we can address at another time. But it is very important, and the public consultation will start, I hope, shortly after Easter.
When our news comes back from the break, environmentalists are helping to build the blue economy, and one political party is looking to partner with small businesses. We have the details when our news returns.
You okay? No. Yeah, I got. That's supposed to happen.
Listen. Wait. Where's your heart? Where is your compassion? Do you have a soul?
Hey, Jimbo, clear my schedule for the rest of the day, eh?
Who do you go, boy? Yeah, bro?
And what are the chances we can actually operate on the patient? Come on, man. Surgery will begin in 2300 hours, okay?
So, we do our rappers, right? These rappers, man.
Silly girls, pretty girls, ghetto girls, pretty girls, kind girls, finding girls, yeah, we got all kind of girls.
T on the track, T on the mic. First I was in the Honda, now I on the bike. I tell her hop on back, she holding on my back. I threw the wide back, straight back, 12 o'clock. Too much girls to chew.
This is our news. Welcome back. A group of environmental entrepreneurs is diving into the blue economy on Grand Bahama and helping to revive a key element to the ocean's ecosystem. Our Christina Dragovich tells us more.
This is where the magic happens. Most coral restoration projects grow their corals out in the ocean, akin to underwater gardens. And there's a number of these projects in Nassau and in Eleuthera and all around the world. But what's really exciting about what we're doing is land-based and high-tech coral farming.
Located just off the Grand Lucayan Waterway in Grand Bahama, Coral Vita is the home of a budding coral farm. Founded in May 2019, the farm has been focused on growing coral to restore reefs at a rate 50 times faster than the speed of nature, according to co-founders Sam Teicher and Gator Halpern.
What we do is we cut up the corals into little tiny pieces. And what that does is it triggers a healing process, almost like scar tissue. So if we just got cut, skin heals over, we cut the corals into tiny pieces, and then they fuse back over and can grow in months instead of decades.
So if we take a cutting from an original parent colony, grow it across a plug, it can then fuse back together with another plug grown from the same parent. So each of these trays are separated by the parents that we cut them from. So this tray here has about 50 corals on it. They're all from the same original DNA. They're all clones of one another.
The farm is not only growing baby coral, but also fortifying them against warming ocean temperatures and other threats to coral in the Bahamas.
After Dorian, the stony coral tissue loss disease arrived, and we were actually one of the first groups to sort of raise the alarm to DEP and to other scientists in the area that the disease had arrived. Unfortunately, it's ravaging the reefs. And what we've done is we've shifted our growth strategy. So we're right now not growing corals that are as susceptible to that disease.
Coral Vita survived Hurricane Dorian, and now it is more determined than ever to help to revive coral ecosystems that fuel fisheries in the Bahamas. According to Coral Vita, scientists project that more than 90% of reefs will be dead by 2050 as a result of climate change and direct human impacts. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister Michael Pintard says the time to act is now.
We have an opportunity in Grand Bahama to create a space where companies from around the world, non-governmental agencies, universities can come in one space, share ideas, share best practices that have been developed elsewhere, so that we can essentially, and this is not hyperbole, save the planet.
Reporting for our news, I'm Christina Dragovich.
And sweet success for a small business as members of the Progressive Liberal Party toured the Switcher plant this week. Stay with us.
I was just gonna say, I want to see the keep this on when you get knocked off. I want to see it.
Wait, they just went right by you. What a freeze!
I get locked up, y'all don't worry. I still here.
I just happy to see that they went by you and then pull you over. Now that would have
been good TV.
That would have been good.
The Charlie Bahama Show, this Monday night, 7 p.m. on our TV, channel 212.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our news. Sweet success for a small business as members of the Progressive Liberal Party toured the Switcher plant this week, discussing with the party's plan to grow small businesses and entrepreneurial opportunities here in the Bahamas. The proprietor of the Switcher facility, Mervyn Sweeting, provided candidates of the PLP with insight on how to increase employment in the country from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
The only way to increase employment is to ensure that small businesses get to grow so we could hire people, all right? We could export and we could grow our economy. Without the necessary tools, everything will fail and it will become a problem for all business owners and for the general citizens of this country. The other part to it is healthcare. We need better healthcare in this country. Healthcare is a problem because far too many times I would have had to personally help my employees to go to private doctors because of the inefficiencies from the public health care system.
Sweeting provided suggestions to get small businesses growing. He added that a lack of industry and land is a crucial downfall.
In order for this to work, the Development Bank needs to be capitalized at minimum $100 million. BAIC $50 million and the Venture Fund another $50 million. The truth of the matter is our economy is growing too slow. There's no way we could be able to propel this economy without proper capitalization of these financial institutions. Furthermore than that, BAIC needs more land. As you guys would have came in this industrial park, the Gladstone Road Industrial Park, you'd notice that there's not many businesses or manufacturers in this park.
Seabreeze candidate Leslie Bryce says the Progressive Liberal Party's plan to boost small business growth and to encourage entrepreneurs is tested and proven.
Our immediate focus will be the investment of $50 million to fund opportunities for Bahamian business owners, and up to $250 million invested in business opportunities and over a 5-year period. Our economic plan will breathe new life into our economy with an equitable approach to funding the entrepreneurial dreams of Bahamian innovators from all walks of life.
Leon Lightbourne, the party's candidate for North Andros and the Berry Islands, says the PLP's plan to reduce VAT will be a step that small businesses need to flourish.
The PLP knows how to create jobs. Our economic plan will feature the reduction of VAT to stimulate cash flow in the local economy while increasing minimum wage to ensure that every Bahamian is taking home a respectable pay that enables them to stay afloat given the high cost of living. Our plan for increased investment of home construction throughout the Bahamas, as well as major infrastructural and technological upgrades, spurring significant job growth in these sectors.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Georgie O'Bain, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.